Well, so since we're talking about legal innovation today, along with the assessment and all that, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, a common complaint that I hear from paralegals working with attorneys who still like to do their work the old-fashioned way, in paper. They avoid technology at all costs. And I'm not just talking about small firms here. I'm literally in 2021, I still hear paralegals tell me that there are attorneys out there who receive a PST file with 5,000 or 10,000 emails in it, and they tell the paralegal to print them out so the attorney can review it and print it, flag it, etc. What advice do you have, if any, for paralegals who are dealing with this technology adverse attorney? Obviously they could quote that rule, right? But I don't know that would do so well for their job.
That's a hard one because it's very hard to change the behavior of someone over whom you have no authority, and sometimes you can't. And I know this sounds harsh, but this is the hottest job market on record in our space, and the Great Resignation has definitely hit law. If people are causing themselves and everyone around them unnecessary pain, exit the painful situation. If you try and reason with someone and they will not listen to reason, I don't have great advice beyond that. That said, I have done a lot of work getting attorneys to adopt technology tools and people who are initially hesitant. And the way I've done it is shown it what's in it for them, as opposed to telling them how it would make my life easier. I have shown them how it will make their life easier. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but it seems to be the best bet. I wish I had some kind of silver bullet. The partner who's in charge wants to do things a certain way, and that way is stupid. There's only so much you can do. I have dealt with large number of attorneys who are extremely successful, who do many things that are counterproductive for themselves and their firms and their clients, and yet their expertise, they are truly expert in their area and ultimately deliver considerable value. And so all of those inefficiencies and other issues get overlooked. And I understand that. Again, I never dismiss the actual value being delivered, and I never dismiss expertise being that threshold consideration. That said, clients are looking at a lot more than that. A lot of the time, there have been massive movements of work in-house and to new law companies, precisely because clients don't feel like they are getting value from their firms, in part for lack of efficiency. If you look at the most recent Wolters Kluwer report, 90% of large clients reduced the number of provider relationships they had in 2020. That is, they're working with fewer firms. The number one criteria for evaluating their firms was how those firms used technology. And their number one reason for switching firms was lack of efficiency and productivity. So this is a multi-billion-dollar question, and there are many lawyers who will get away with it until they retire. There's a lot of other lawyers who are making a lot less money than they could have with a different approach.
Right. I totally agree. And I agree about the, get up and go somewhere else, because now's the time if there's an issue, for sure.
I was just on the phone with a friend yesterday who got a brand new job, and she said that I'm the one who pushed her over the edge, not in a bad way. She was describing a situation where she had all these things that she was being asked to do, and she wanted to do them, but she was not given the appropriate resources. And my response was, well, if you're not getting the resources, then these things are not going to get done. And that actually clicked for her. And she's like, oh, I should go somewhere else where I get sufficient resources. And she did. And she's much happier, and I'm very happy for her. So I know that sounds like harsh advice, and I know not everyone can take it, but I don't have any magic words that will charm, anyone who's in a position of authority and does not want to change.
Right. Well, and then a lot of them have left just to start their own companies, work in a virtual paralegal company or remote positions. And so I'm wondering along those lines. So I think I heard this past week, unemployment was at a 0.9% for associates and under 3% for all other law firm employees. So lower, way lower than even the national average. And do you think based on that shortage of people even wanting to work, whether it's at a certain law firm because of the lawyer's reputation or just not wanting to work at a law firm in general, do you think that maybe that's going to motivate the legal industry to look more closely at technology and what they can automate and incorporate and innovate?
Yes. So I think not having people causes organizations to figure out how to do more with the people they have. So how do we get more productivity? How do we get more yield out of the people we have? And you can only ask them to work so many more hours before the constraints of both well-being and space-time impinge. And therefore it's got to be finding force multipliers, which is process and technology. So that's one piece of it. They're going to have no choice, or they're going to have to let work pass, which some of them are, but that can have serious consequences for long-term client relationships, because your client who wants to work with you, you're sending them to someone else who now becomes their trusted advisor. So that hurts a lot. The other piece of it, in speaking to people who do law firm recruitment for both associates and paralegals, is that the money is pretty similar most places, and a lot of places are looking. And so the way to sell yourself is lifestyle differentiation. And part of that is culture. Is this a nice place to work? But a part of culture is the culture around the use of technology and innovation. You can look it up. If you Google law, most boring job in world, you will find a survey that cites law as the most boring job in the world. There's a lot of drudgery inherent in what we do. Much of that drudgery can be automated away. In fact, much of it has been automated away, but the automation only kicks in if we have the right tools and we're using them the right way.